Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to today and all that this day can bring. I want to encourage you that you have an ability to make a difference in the world today, to make a difference in your relationships today. And I'm going to continue on this mini-series of relationships. And I'm going to point to a book right above my head here. There's a new book that I just purchased. I've listened to it on Audible before this, but and I'm going to give a caveat. This is not the best book ever written, okay? Laws of Human Nature. Having said that, it gives the premise on the basics of what motivates people, how we think, how we behave, why we behave certain ways. This is so important for every individual. If you do not... We are all salespeople. I've said this over and over again, and in many different contexts. You are a salesperson. Whether you are selling products for money, or whether you are selling an idea to your children or to your partner or to your parents or to your friends or to your business colleagues or your business partners or employees or your boss or whoever it is, we're always selling something. We're selling ourselves. I remember so earlier on in my career, I went to a few car dealerships and said, hey, I know that I can do a better job of teaching people about sales. And I promised that I'll give a lecture and simply, I won't sell anything in that lecture. It's simply going to be value for your employees. And one of the car dealers, a very shrewd man, said, well, right now I know you're lying because you are selling something. You're going to be selling yourself, even if you're not selling your product. And I said, you know what? I had to admit, you're right. You're right. Even if I'm not selling something specifically, I'm selling myself. I went to an interview yesterday for this corporation, this corporate contract that I'm attempting to land. And when I went there, I was selling myself. We are always selling something. Think about a dating relationship. We're selling ourselves. Hey, like purchase this product. This person is somebody you want to spend time with. We're always selling ourselves. So you are a salesperson, and one of the key elements of becoming a good salesperson, having more influence. I won't use the term salesperson because that term is something that so many people have a strong reaction to, okay? I'm using it on purpose, but maybe I'll go away from that, okay? If you want influence, if you want to influence others, if you want to influence yourself, if you want to understand what motivates yourself and begin to be able to take action on a completely different level and take responsibility for your actions rather than procrastinate, guess what you need? Not this book. You need to understand what drives humanity. What are the similarities no matter who you meet? What drives us? I'm going to give you a key secret here. What drives almost everyone, almost all of the time, like so much of the time that it's not even worth thinking about the other times, is emotional attachment to ideas. Emotional attachment to ideas. I'm going to give you a few examples, okay? My dad, when I was younger, when I was about 17 or 18 years old, I remember having an argument with him, and he used a certain word. Though I used the word ridiculous, and to me that was simply his idea didn't have merit. Okay, I wasn't calling him a name. I was talking about the idea, but he has super strong reaction, and at the time I didn't understand how strong a reaction he had. And it was a few years later, we're driving somewhere, I don't even remember where we were driving, but we were driving somewhere and having a conversation, and he shared a story from his past. He said, you know, Mark, my dad, I've tried to grow better than my dad as a father. He said, my dad, one thing that he would do is put me down by calling everything I did ridiculous. And this light went off for me where I went, oh, this is why you reacted so strongly to this word. This word is not super important on its own, but your father had used this to demean you for years. And now when I'm using it, it's got all the same feelings attached to it. So have you ever had a situation where somebody has this massive reaction to something fairly innocuous? It seems fairly small. What's going on there? This is not about you. This is going to be the first law of human nature that I want to teach you. Okay, I don't even think it's in the book. But when people are reacting, it's not about you. It might be about something that you said, but it's how they're taking that in and their past emotional connections to that thing. Okay. And I'll give you a really quick example. There's a prominent politician. I won't use names right now. There's a prominent politician that leads a fairly prominent nation. And I remember hearing about this interview where somebody talked about him having small hands. And he had this extremely strong reaction where he defended himself and went on and on about, and when I heard about this interview, I thought, why does this person care about this comment about his hands? Like, if somebody, I don't know, I think about my own, I'm attached to my hands, quite literally. They're useful. If somebody made fun of them, I don't know. My reaction wouldn't be that this is a terrible slight against me as a human being. I'm pretty sure about that. And the reason for that is I'm fairly confident in who I am as a human being. I'm fairly confident that I have enough to make this world a little bit better, which is what my goal is. So I don't have really strong reactions typically to those things. People without confidence have extremely strong reactions. And the less confidence somebody has, the more they react. Why? Because they're trying to protect themselves. When somebody has a strong reaction, they're trying to protect themselves. And this comes back down to this first law. This first law is that it's not about you, it's about them. When we feel threatened, when we feel afraid, we have basically two responses. There are more responses but they fall into two bigger categories most of the time. And that is either we fight, we lash out, or we retreat, we run away. Fight or flight, often people call this. And in that situation, when somebody has a really strong reaction to something you've said, or they shut down, that's what's happening inside of them. So understand this. And I want to give you a few of the laws of human nature here in the next few videos to make sure that you've got, it's not going to solve all the problems for you, but at least it's going to give you some background of going, oh, this is what's going on. How can I learn more about this? I'm hoping that these Mornings with Mark provide a platform from which you can leap off and explore the things that you understand are going to be valuable to you. So if you want better relationships, here's the one action step that I'm going to give you for today. The action step for today is start to pay attention to people's reactions and the context around the actions. And here's the second step. This is going to go a lot deeper. This is far more difficult because it requires a little bit of skill, but you can learn it fairly quickly. The second step is when somebody has a reaction, stop and go, I'm sorry, I missed something. I said something here, I'm not sure, and it seemed that there was a really strong response in you. What was going on? If you ask that question, if you are safe for the person, I'm going to make the caveat, if you are safe for that person and you ask that question, often they will actually become quite vulnerable. And they will share, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I just had a really bad day. I just got fired and somebody died in my family and this is going on and I'm just reacting to things in not a normal way. Or, you know what, it's a time in my life where there's a lot of stress. I'm sorry about that. Or somebody might say, well, you use this word and that means this. And you'll go, oh, I apologize. I didn't mean the word that way. I meant it this way. And all of a sudden, there's a de-escalation of what's going on in the situation. Instead of you getting riled up and fighting back and then it escalating, you can de-escalate a situation simply by being safe and asking a few questions, which we'll probably talk about in a future Morning with Mark here with relationships. But the action step is start paying attention to people's reactions, and if you want to, if you're willing to, start understanding what's behind those reactions. Once you start asking those questions, if you're safe for that person, and if they perceive you are safe, that's even more important, then all of a sudden things will open up for you and you will start to go, wait a second, I have far more influence with people now because I'm listening to them. I'm getting to know them. And that is a very, very powerful tool. And it all comes from understanding people, understanding human nature. So here's what I want to encourage you to do over the next 3 months, 6 months, a year. Make it your life goal. This is my life goal, to understand people so that I can make a bigger difference in their lives. Even if you're not going to be a coach, even if you're not going to be a psychologist, even if you're not going to chase the same things I've chased, what I'd encourage you to do is become better at this, because as you do, everything changes in your life. Your relationships change, your influence changes, your job changes, your business changes, everything else changes. And I'll use that word that some people react to, and you become a great salesperson in your own life with the people around you, in your own community. Enjoy taking this on.